Robertlandy Simon is the GOAT, and I don't think it's particularly close. At 38 years old, he's still dominating the game in ways that we don't see from any other guys in the middle. His latest semifinal series against Perugia is just further proof of this. Simone led Piacenza in scoring with 45 points, averaging 4.09 points per set over the course of the 3-game series. Yes, they did lose the series, but I don't think you can blame it on the Cuban middle blocker. In fact, I don't think they would have been that relevant if it wasn't for the Cuban middle blocker. In the volleyball source world, we have something called a Landy line. It's when a player gets more points in a match than he has attempts. And as you might have guessed, it's actually named after Robertlandy Simon because this is something we've seen time and time again. Now, Simone actually averaged a Landy line in this series. He had 45 points on 44 attempts over the course of the 11 sets. He went 32 for 44, hitting a 72.73% with a 68.18 efficiency. He was only blocked twice all series. He also had a total of 8 blocks throughout all 3 games and added 5 aces. And those 5 aces only came with 8 errors over the course of 41 total service attempts. That's good for a minus 0.07 serving efficiency. That's just not good for a middle. That's good for anyone in volleyball. So Robertlandy is dominating in every phase of the game that he possibly can. Today, I'm going to break down Simone's last game against Perugia, game 3 for Piacenza. He led Piacenza in scoring, going 10 for 10 in attack, absolutely perfect, adding 3 blocks and an ace, and leading Piacenza in scoring for the second time in this series. I'm going to go over this game and show you why he's still so successful and dominant at 38 years old. And I think it's even more important the fact that he's 38 because he no longer has that youthful dominance that we saw from him early in his career, right? He doesn't jump as high or hit as hard necessarily as some of the younger guys that we see in the middle blocker position, right? Especially the middle blocker position, which is arguably the hardest and one of the most taxing positions in the sport. He's still able to get it done at this highest level. There's a few things that I really want you to watch, especially if you're a young middle blocker trying to learn that position. A lot of it is going to be his preparation before the attack, his consistency in getting ready and being prepared, also his variance in what he's doing. His variance often comes from the result and not the preparation, so we're going to look over that. But at the same time, he is one of the biggest physical specimens we have ever seen in the sport. He is the Shaq of volleyball, and you're going to see a little bit of that today once again. We're going to start things off, and it is going to be the very first point of the mat. This one isn't anything special. It's a good serve from Bo Valenta. They get to go outside, and he's going to get the clamp on Plotnitsky on the 3-person block. But we see his feet. Now, as soon as that ball is set outside, he is moving, in line with his outside blockers, and he's just able to go up and get that late press, right? He's so high up, and he's able just to push his hands over and get the press. Now, fast forward a little bit. I think this is a huge rotation where not only does he get a block touch to be able to get control of the ball back, but he also finishes it off with a kill. As we run through it, first ball doesn't go to him, goes outside to Andringa, and then this is where Perugia is going to go to the pipe. Let's watch what he does with his hands here to be able to get that soft block, okay? We'll go back to it afterwards just to see it again, and then he runs the back 61 as Porro is facing him. So the first thing I want us to look at is his hands on this block. Obviously, Soleil is going to go up. His hands are up and ready for Soleil, right? We can see right here, his hands are up and ready for Soleil, but that ball's going to the pipe. And he's going to bring them down. And just because he's, so big and physical, this is where part of his physicality really comes through. He's able to keep his hands up and immediately switch them as Semeniuk is hitting that pipe. Sorry, I think I said it was Plotnitsky, but it's actually Semeniuk. So we can see there, he's gone up with the middle right here, and then he's going to shift his hands a little bit to be able to just cover some place off of Semeniuk. He knows that he has his defenders over here, so he's taking off that one side and does it perfectly, gets the soft touch. Piacenza gets that ball back. That ball is recycled. He's going to back up and approach once again. Here, he's already on that coverage. He's going to pick it up nice and high. Notice how he immediately makes himself available. He doesn't even bother coming around. He's just going to back up and make himself available in transition. And he's just going to get up right back to the attack line and It's just a quick 1-2. This ball, he's already on his way up as Porro is touching this ball, right? Porro's touching this ball right here. He's already on his way up. But for Simone, I'd actually say he's kind of a little bit late. But this is actually a pretty rare situation to be. Not often are we going to see a setter face the right side of the court and set that 61. And I mean, that's just one of the things that's so beautiful about this Porro-Simone connection. And then he's just going to come in and he's just going to dominate, hit that ball cross body. Gianelli gets a really good touch on it, but it's not enough. Overall, in this point, we just see how ready he is to make those adjustments, right? We saw him make his adjustments with his hand, and as soon as he passed that ball, he's ready and available to hit the very next ball in transition. Sometimes in transition, especially as a middle blocker, you just got to get ready and go up, and that's where Simone is so good. You'll see very rarely is he approaching behind the attack line. His feet are usually set up on the attack line, and he's just going with a quick 1-2 footwork to be able to get up and go attack that ball. So just a couple of play later, he's still in the front row, and he's just going to get that first ball in that side out. One thing we'll definitely have you notice is that, he's pretty much already in position there just because of the rotation. I mean, those new rules really benefit middles, so you don't have to rush to be able to get into your position. As that ball is being served, if you watch his head, he's watching that ball. As that ball is being served, he's watching it hit his serve receiver's platform. And that is so important for a middle blocker because as a middle blocker, the entirety of your approach is based off of the speed of that first contact. And your timing is going to be based off of how fast that ball is passed. And oftentimes, especially at the higher levels, the set is going to determine on how fast that ball is passed, right? If it's going to be really tight to the net, then obviously you're going to have to go to the setter, or maybe if there's a little bit of time, you're going to go away. Every team is going to run it a little bit differently. This ball is going, and as it's passed, he watches it for about 2 seconds and immediately shifts his gaze. So at this point now, he's no longer looking at the ball. That ball is up here, and his eyes are on Porro. Because as a middle blocker, all of the information that you're going to need in that situation is based off of your setter. Your setter is going to be able to move to the ball. You're going to move based off of where your setter is, and you're going to be able to tell where that ball is in accordance to where that setter is in at any situation. After that fraction of a second, right, the ball isn't even at his peak. He knows just watching it, hey, this ball is probably going to go here, and I've probably got about this amount of time to play it. He runs it, and once again, he's basically at the attack line, a little bit further back than we maybe usually see him, and it's just a 1-2. Now, as Porro is touching this ball right here, look where Simone already is. He's already up, he's got his arms up high, and he's ready to just snap down at the ball. Soleil is already done at this point. Soleil is already out of the play because of his footwork. Now, also look at the distance from him from the attack line. Now, Simone, one of his really big benefits is that he has the ability, because he's so big and so powerful, just to jump straight up. Some other guys are going to take a little bit of longer lead up because they need a little bit bigger jump and they need a little bit more momentum, and they're going to be floating into the ball. Simone, his feet are pretty much almost even with where Porro's are because he's just going to jump straight up and attack that ball. Soleil is already done because this ball is being contacted, and Simone is already up there right with his setter. And that's exactly what we see. I mean, this is just some bad blocking from Soleil. I'm sure Perugia had done their video on this and known where Simone would be and who's the number one target in their offense. But right now, he has the entirety of the court to swing at. There's only a few frames between, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 10 frames between when that ball is being set and that ball is being hit. It's just between this distance here where Simone is hitting that ball right out of Porro's hands. And that's a true first tempo attack. Because when you're getting set in that situation, you need a full commit block from the middle blocker on the opposite side if they want any chance to be able to get a hand on you. So next up, we're going to have another transition kill here from Simone. It's a little bit of a longer rally. A nice dig there by Piacenza. Bit of an offset there from Bentara. And just a wonderful run there by Porro. So one thing that I think is important here is, yes, Simone gets caught out of position, but it's right here where he obviously identifies early on that that ball is not going to be a threat. The set was too low. Bentara didn't get a good swing on it. So he's looking back because there's no information that he needs from the other side of the court. doesn't matter what Perugia is doing right now. All his information that he's going to be gleaning is from where that ball is going to be going. So as he's getting back to his spot, if we back it up a few frames here, he's getting back into his spot, but he's also seeing where that ball is. He's tracking it. Now he's watching that ball. And all of a sudden, he's looking down, right? That ball is up here, and it doesn't care because he's looking at Poro. There's different types of middle blockers. Some guys go straight to the setter all the time. Some guys go to a specific spot. And one of the reasons why Simone has been so successful over the years is because he has that ability just to go up to a specific spot and give the biggest window possible. Because middle blockers hit such a quick attack, they're not jumping to the ball, they're jumping to the space where the ball is going to be set to. And there's a big difference there between what a middle blocker does compared to what an outside hitter does. Simone is so successful because he has such a big window of play. And it's why we've seen him be really successful with guys like a Paolo Poro or a Luciano De Cecco a little bit earlier in his career. And these guys who are really natural setters with really good hands are just going to be able to know where he is in his position and just fire it to him. And that's exactly what we're going to see in this play here, because Poro is falling back. And now generally as a middle blocker, you kind of want to keep that separation, but Simone doesn't really care because he's just going to approach right here to this gap in between Solé and Gianelli. I mean, Poro just does a great job at dishing it to him. But once again, we notice that Poro is contacting that ball and Simone's, all of his weight is already going up. He's already jumping in the air. He's not waiting to see where that set is. He has that trust in Poro to be able to get him that ball, and that's exactly what it is. And once again, he's contacting that ball at his peak. Solé is here, Gianelli is here, and there's really no chance, unless you're going to be able to dig that ball with, once again, Simone is just a physical beast to be able to get that kill, and he just crushes it into that open court. But his ability to see that ball, while he's getting into position, right? He's multitasking and then base everything off of Poro is kind of where all of that success is. Now, this one is going to be another side out attack here by Simone and another ball that he just crushes. I mean, you can even see how Solé is frustrated after this ball. Solé in this situation actually goes up with him and has that full commit block. And you can even see that he's reaching in to that 5 line. So Solé, all of his arms are going over here, and Simone, because of how fast he is able to go underneath. This is actually a ball where he's hitting it almost right out of the hands of Paolo Poro. So when we watch once again in slow-mo, Simone is watching that ball, open to his serve receivers, open to the setter. His chest is facing this way. He's watching his serve receivers, and he's able to spot his setter very easily. So he's open to that ball. Ball is passed. He watches it for 2 seconds, and now his eyes are already all on Poro. And this one, because it's a little higher of a ball, you're going to see him kind of bounce in place and attack that ball aggressively. Your first step as a middle needs to be aggressive. As soon as you understand that that ball is going to be in your setter's hands and it's going to be a good pass and you have the ability to hit the ball, first step needs to be aggressive because you need to hit that ball in first tempo. And that's exactly what you're going to see here, right? This one is the quickest one of them all because Poro is contacting that ball here. Simone is already off the ground. He's going to be able to hit that ball straight out of his hands. There's only this distance between where that ball is being set and where it's being hit. And Solé, who at this point is giving Simone all of his attention, still isn't able to get on him because Simone is up and so early. He's literally eating out of Poro's hands, as we say, to middle hitters to do. You want to eat out of your setter's hands. And that ball is coming up, so he's just getting straight over top of it to be able to hit it straight down, right? He's not trying to hit it deep. He's not coming in behind the ball. He's just coming in over top and going right underneath Solé's arms, which is really difficult to do. And, almost hits Kalachi in the nuts. Fast forward now of just a few points, we're going to see Simone go on a slight serving run. At this point in his career, he can still have the ability to crush the ball, but it's his control that he's able to do. Remember, he only missed 8 serves on 41 attempts throughout this entire series, right? There's some guys in a match who are going to be able to miss 8 serves. So Simone's control is so good. And this first ball here, he's going to serve it at Plotnitsky right in his wheelhouse right in his midline, and Simone is able to get that ace on one of the pretty good. I mean, ace on one of the better serve receivers in the league. I mean, it's not technically not an ace, but it might as well be. It should at least be an assist because Comparoni is just cleaning up Simone's dirty garbage. So Simone goes back, and once again, this time he's going to serve at Plotnitsky, but go to his right. He's going to make him move. So even though he's going to the same player, he's switching up that location of where he's serving on him. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, actually ends up being another Piacenza point as well, where they're kind of out of system and they go up 23-20. Although, if you know anything about this match, this was kind of as far as they went, unfortunately. Now we fast forward to the second set. And this one, I think, is honestly one of the best swings of the game. And I'll show you why, because Simone ends up getting set in transition here. Now, he makes the bad move, goes after Russo in that situation, and then absolutely fools Russo so badly there with the Polish. Right away, he knows that this is going to be a free ball situation, and that little hustle to get into position. So well done. His eyes are on the serve receiver there, or on the receiver there in Endringa. As that ball comes through, he's going to change over to Poro. Now, this obviously has to be a pre-planned play because it requires that set from the setter as well. As that ball is being set, he's ready in position. Now, Russo on this other side doesn't want to get burned by Simone, right? So he's ready to go up with him. So as Poro's setting that ball, Russo is going up with him. But what Simone does here is he actually waits, right? He comes in, pauses for a second, little stutter step, and waits for that ball to come down over him. And that's what you call a classic Polish quick. I know the Americans in their system have kind of different words for it, like pops and fades. But traditionally, this is what is known as a Polish quick, where you come in, hesitate, let that middle blocker go up and get crushed. And you can even see Russo gives him a look, turns around with the smile because he just knows he just got. This is why I love that creativity between Simone and Paolo Poro, because they could do these little things like this. So, we see that variance in his game, but once again, that preparation is all there that allows him to be successful. Just a couple points later, we're going to see Simone in serve receive, and this one's going to be a little bit different because he's going to run that 31. Like I said before, what Simone does so good is that he actually helps the setter, right? Because he's up so early and presents himself as a target so early, the setter knows where to set the ball. But that added advantage is that right now, Poro, all of his attention is on the ball, right? We can see here, he's looking up towards the ball. Simone is looking at Poro. But even though Simone is looking at Poro, he can still see the three blockers. So that's where we see Simone right now is going to approach that on that 31. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is an audible that they do mid-play or if it's just pre-planned, but this is the exact same position pretty much that we've been seeing him get into throughout the course of the match, right? His left foot is on the attack line, and then he's just going to go from there and approach right to the gap. And, I mean, Russo is on this ball pretty quickly, but as he's still watching that ball, we can see, right, that his eyes are still looking at Poro, and Simone is already up in the air. So Simone is already up in the air. Russo is already done. And by the time he's jumping, right, his hands are barely over the top of the net, and Simone is already over top of him. It's just those reps that these two have been able to done. Poro knows where Simone is going to be able to be and is able to see too because he's providing him that target. He's going up as he's able to set that ball, and he goes, if he's jumping here, I need to put that ball there. And also look, like the top of the antenna is right here. So he's hitting that ball essentially a little higher than the top of the antenna. And Russo is still down here. Crazy. And just crushes it. And so still so far, Perugia hasn't even come close to him at all as he's been swinging. So this next serve isn't one that he's able to get a point off of, but it just shows the variance in his serves, right? You know, this time he's serving in a different against a different rotation. You've got Gagini in the back row, and he's just going to cut that one short. Now, Gagini does a really good job to get to that ball and just pop it up right on top of Gianelli, but we just see that variance in serves. And I mean, especially back in match 1, when he got 3 aces, this is a situation where he was able to get an ace off of just by hitting that short serve, because everyone's expecting him to crush it and everyone is back on their heels. I mean, look at where they are in serve receive when Simone is serving. So there's all of this room. Oop, I forgot I'm on the line, but all of this room in the front there for him to be able to go short. And he does so very, very well. So now we're going to have a nice little blocking sequence here from Simone. And you'll see, you know, first ball gets reversed all the way other side. And look how much space he travels, right? When that ball is set, he's right there. And Gianelli is obviously going to reverse the flow. And he's able to close that block and contact that ball here in just a couple of steps. So this is where, as a middle blocker, your footwork is so important, because that ball is getting set and he's not wasting any time. So that first foot, you know, that first step he's making, he is pushing off with his right foot. He's creating space with his left foot, and he's going to be able to close that space just with like one little crossover. And it's a little bit of a hop step as he closes to Andringa. His outside foot, his right foot, is going to plant. That's what we're going to see there. And then his left foot, his hip foot, is going to be able to come around. And what you can tell that Simone comes around so well, his hips are open when he's coming off the ground. But as Bentara is contacting that ball right now, right, he's already closed off that space, and there's not much room for Bentara to be able to go. And Simone, I mean, this is where he's just a monster. His hands are wide. They're over the net. They're penetrating. They're in Bentara's face, and he's going to be able to get the touch. So it's recycled. And then I really love this here. He just resets. Andringa is looking to get back to that position. He looks over, sees that Simone's there, and immediately Andringa is looking at Simone, and Simone is giving him all the information he needs. Simone is looking at that ball, as we can see here. Right? He's looking at that ball, and he puts that hand out to kind of help Andringa along. And that spacing is so important, because ultimately it's what leads off to them getting the point, because then he's wait. That's what he's telling them. Wait. And then all three are going to be able to go up together at the same time. And then, he pulls on him, right? He sees that Bentara is going up with 2 hands, and he's going to pull on him. Get those hands away. And Bentara is looking for that touch, looking for the hands, throws it long. Wonderful blocking by the GOAT. So here, once again, we're going to see Simone inside out. So once again, as we're talking about, eyes are back to the ball, open to receivers, open to his setters. That you already know at this point. As soon as that ball is coming around, all of his information is coming from Porro. As he comes around, he's able to crush that ball back towards 1, which is kind of the first time we've seen him really go back towards 1. And that's so important. Russo is on him in this situation, right? Russo is going up with him. He's getting hands up, and he's going wide. And you can tell like he's kind of tilting back to that 5. He's dropped that left hand because if you remember earlier back a few plays when Soleil just went up straight, Simone went underneath. So right now, Russo is planning for that, and he's dropping that left hand to be able to take off that angle. Simone, being the GOAT that he is, automatically knows that and is going to crush that ball through the uprights and turn that ball back to 1. Next up, we're going to have another Simone block, and this pass is just going to be off. So it's going to be, now a transition opportunity for Piacenza. A lot to notice in this play. First and foremost, you've got Gianelli who's out. So automatically they know that they're not going to be setting the middle because Gagini is in a libero that is going to be setting the middle. And obviously Soleil is going to be right here as well too. So now those options are going to be just Bentara or Semeniuk on the outside. But even then, Bentara isn't really in a good position to be able to hit this ball, right? He's inside the court because Gianelli is hanging out here, and you've got Plotnitsky who's going to be taking that ball with his forearm. Now, had Gagini come in and, taken this ball, then that might have been a different case. But, Simone here stays so good and calm and is just able to go over and get Semeniuk on the three-man block, right? His hands are so big and he's so strong with his hands that he's just able to do that little bit of push, and it's really hard to beat him, especially in an out-of-system situation like that. You'll see here, as that ball is being set, already we're seeing a little bit of a movement with his right knee there, right? So if you watch just on his right knee, as that ball is being set, his right knee is already opening up. He's already shifting his weight, and he's moving over to go towards Bovalenta. And as soon as his hands are over the net, like, look how high he is. Like, once again, this is the top of the antenna. This is the top of the antenna, and he's blocking at that top of the antenna with nice strong hands. His hands are wide. His thumbs are more or less together. There's not really much room for Semeniuk to go with this ball. If anything, he has to go kind of in that seam to Andringa. And Simone is just an absolute beast there to be able to take away all of that space for his second block of the match. Now, this is going to be kill number 7 of this match. Once again, in system, in serve receive, that first ball side out. This time it's Travica who's setting that ball, but it still doesn't matter. It's so important, especially if you're a middle blocker, to notice how every single time he's getting to his spot, he's watching that ball, he's open to the serve receiver, and he's open to the setter. That is that consistency and those little things that needs to be done perfectly every single time. He's 38 years old. He's no longer that fast. He's no longer that super physical. I mean, he's still more physical than a lot of guys, but he doesn't have, what he had 10 years ago. The perfection in his game needs to be there every single time. And he knows that he's that number one option for his team. So he needs to be able to present himself. And once again, that ball is still behind him. Right, that ball is still behind him, and you can see that he's looking at Travica. And 1, 2, as Travica is hitting that ball, he's already in the air. I know I'm a broken record on this, but that's why he's so good. Now, Russo actually does a pretty good job of trying to cover him, right? He learned from the last time, and he's going to get his hands up early, and he's going to go wide. He's going to go wide because he knows that Simone is going for one of the angles, except that Simone, because he's hitting that ball so high, is coming down with so much force, and he's just going to use that inside hand. He knows it doesn't really matter who's getting up on him. Like, they need to be commit blocking so much, and that really isn't possible because of Gutierrez coming in on the pipe. That's exactly here. He just goes on the inside hand of Russo, and you kind of see Russo with a little bit of jump, thinking that he had him, but Simone was there the entire time. Kill number 8 for Simone is going to be a transition ball. Okay, so it's going to be an out-of-system set, and he's just going to turn to be able to cover. He's going to kick that ball up, immediately go into his approach, and run that 31 as an opening for Porro. That's a decision based off of like him and Porro. What are they going to be running in transition? What are they running in serve receive? We've seen him run that 31 in certain situations, and we've seen him run that 51. This is obviously one where he wants to run that 31, just a quick hop and a step, pass that ball, get himself into position. He's going to go right for that gap once again between Russo and Gianelli. Now, Porro is in a bit of an unconventional situation, right? He's facing the net. Now, Simone is still watching him, obviously, and gets all of his information there from Porro. But from this position, Porro actually has all of his options except for really the pipe. Right, once your shoulders up the net as a setter, it's going to be really hard to kind of dish that ball back to the pipe, but you've got Andringa in the pipe, so it doesn't really matter. They didn't really set him much in this match anyways, but you've got Bovalenta on that C ball, and then you could dish it over the left over to Gutierrez on the left side. Porro is just going to go up, hands together. He could actually swing on this ball too because Bovalenta is on that right side, but ball is in the hands. Simone is going up. And he's kind of fronting Gianelli here. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because he's just going to be able to go up and no one is home. Now, because this is out of system as well too, the blockers on the other team are kind of expecting that maybe it's going to go to the outside. This is actually quite a bit of a lower set for Simone than he's used to. Normally he's hitting up at the top of the antenna, and now he's kind of hitting at like that second or third white. It really doesn't matter because of the speed at which he's hitting that ball. He's up so fast and just being able to provide that window so quickly that Porro has such an easy time finding him. And Russo gets a little bit of a touch on it, but it's not nearly enough to be able to slow him down or stop him. Now, his third block of the match is going to be one that's kind of textbook Simone. Now, because he's so big, his hands are so good and so active, he has the ability to just be up. And when he's in this position here, his hands are probably over at the top of the net, and he's going to be taking away some space. So that's exactly what we're going to see on this play, because in that shuffle, he's able to cover both Russo in the middle and Bentara on that C ball. We're seeing that, he's taking that step over, and his guy is the first guy, and that's going to be Russo here. So all of his attention is on that back ball. If that ball goes to the left side, he's beat and he knows it. He's making that choice, and that's what he needs to do. That's his assignment in this situation. All of that, attention is going over. As soon as that ball is set, he's ready to go up here with Soleil actually, and he's just going to continue that little hop over, and he doesn't need to get his hands up all that high. As Bentara is hitting that ball, all he's doing is getting his hands just over the net, and that is honestly so important. If he's trying to go for height here, it's going to hit off his hands, he's going to fall down, he's going to become a tool situation. But because all he's doing is pushing over with his hands, he's allowing himself to get into position. Now, once again, Andringa, not that big of a blocker. Simone coming in late, so Bentara probably doesn't even see him. He's going to go for that short cross underneath. That's all Simone needs to do, because for every inch you go over the net, you take away like a meter behind you. The more you penetrate, it doesn't even need to be high up here, but the more you penetrate over, that's where you're going to be able to get those touches. And that's exactly what happens to Simone in this situation, right? He just has his hands up over the net, creating that little bit of space, and ultimately that provides that deep block there for Simone in his third block of the match. This is actually going to be Simone's last kill of the match, kill number 10. It's going to be the only one where he's stacked up in this rotation. I'm just going to run it through for you guys to see. First of all, he gets into position, opens up to the serve receivers, looks at his setter, runs that ball, and then crushes it back to one. Now, this one I actually think is a little bit of bad blocking on Sébastien Soleil's part, because as we see, he goes up. Now, what Simone is able to do so well is that he always faces towards 5. Even when he's hitting that ball back, he's always facing towards 5. So that's exactly what we're seeing in this situation. Now, I think he actually gets Soleil caught up, because if you watch, Soleil is going to be jumping to the one side, right? He's going to be jumping towards the right side of the court. But as he sees Simone facing 5, he's reaching over to those hands. Now, I think Simone was always planning to go back to 1 here, or maybe he saw the hands at the last minute. I'm not too sure. As Soleil is reaching over, Simone is just going to come back across. And, if he was to hit that ball to 5, he's going to hit it here, right? Because he's going to hit it first time on top of that ball. But instead, he's going to wait for that ball just to come over in front of him a little bit more and then bring it back to 1, right through the hands of Sébastien Soleil and into that back corner, right? So when he's turning it around, he doesn't have that ability as much to go sharp cross down, because that's where you start getting into those errors. But he's just able to turn it around high and go back to deep 1 for his 10th kill of the match. And unfortunately, that is it for Simone in this match in terms of scoring. And ultimately, it's it for him in this season as well, because Piacenza ended up getting 3 donned in this match. Tough for them to do it without Efe Mandaracha, but it's so rare that you're going to see the next go-to player on a team be a middle blocker. But that's been the case for Robertlandy Simon over the entirety of his career, especially when he has a setter like a Paolo Porro or a Luciano Di Cecco to be able to go out there and give him the ball in his space. He's so deadly because of that window that he's able to create, the consistency that he's able to provide. And then, there's also just like the beastly physicality that really can't be competed with in volleyball. We got a lot of tall guys and we got some guys who are very athletic, but there's no one who has the size and the power, just the raw power that Robertlandy Simon has. But that's not the reason why he's able to be so good still at 38. It's all based off of the little things that he's able to do. And that's something that someone of any player of like any age, any size, at any level can really focus on. If you're a middle blocker and you focus on those little things and those little details, especially in attack, you're going to find so much more success. But this is why Robertlandy Simon is the GOAT.